Happy Thursday and welcome into Bears Now by Chat Sports. I'm Harrison Graham. Coming up on today's show, Pro Football Focus links a free agent to Chicago. We'll talk about who that player is. Also, does this NFL draft prospect want to be a Chicago Bear? We'll explore that as well. And a veteran quarterback wants to back up Justin Fields? Perhaps. All of that and more coming up on today's show. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's get to 65,000 subscribers. We're currently at 64,414, which means we're just over 500 away. Remember, once we get to 65K, we will do a live fan-led mock draft. And also, round of applause to See the Beast Gaming and Dylan Peterson. They were the two commenters that commented over 100 times on the video challenge earlier this week. Shout out to you guys. You guys crushed that challenge. And shout out to everybody else who commented as well. Over 1,500 comments. All right, let's start today's show. Yannick Ngakoue, that is who Pro Football Focus has linked to the Bears. He says the Bears are the, quote, best landing spot for Ngakoue. Obviously, we've talked about Yannick quite a bit here on this show. Again, he's super productive in terms of a pass rusher, super consistent, 7-year player in the NFL, 8 or more sacks in every year of his career. Had 9.5 last year, 10 the year before. I get it. You look at his PFF grades, they're not great. You know, he's not a great run stopper, but I still want Ngakoue in Chicago. I would like to see this guy on this defensive line because he simply is a good player and would help your pass rush production out. And in case we all forgot, the Bears had 20 sacks last year as a team. Dead last in the NFL. That is an atrocious number, to say the least. I like DeMarcus Walker. I think it's a good addition, but Ngakoue is a better pass rusher. Why not bring him on board and help bolster this unit? Could happen after the draft, and if anything, Matt Eberflus actually hinted at that as a possibility when he was asked about the Bears' defensive line out at the league owners' meetings. He said he could see the Bears signing a veteran defensive lineman after the draft, and Ngakoue would certainly fit that mold. He also mentioned that when he first got to Indianapolis as their defensive coordinator, they signed Justin Houston after the NFL draft, and he had a productive couple of seasons there. Maybe something similar could happen. Focus on the draft, bring some guys in, and then that next wave of free agency kicks off after the NFL draft. Do you believe that the Bears will sign Yannick Ngakoue? Type B for believe or D for don't. Let me know in the comment section below. Pin comment on today's video. So if you get hit with that ad break, reply to the pin with B for believe or D for don't. Paris Johnson Jr., does he predict that he is going to be a Chicago Bear? Well, he said that he thinks the Bears are a realistic landing spot for himself. He hopped on Bussin' with the Boys, which is a Barstool Sports podcast, and was asked about where he thought he could go. And he said, for me personally, I feel like the first thing you look at is taxes, state taxes. Hey, businessman. It'd be cool if I was a Titan. There's no state taxes there, and it's warm. I'm from Cincinnati, so weather is important too. He later on said, realistically, I would say, who needs a tackle? I would say Chicago. I would say the Falcons. Falcons pick at 8. Bears pick at number 9. And we've obviously talked about Paris Johnson Jr. a lot. He's a real option at number 9. I would put him within a handful of players that I think the Bears could take with that number 9 overall pick. You look at the NFL draft order. Who could take an offensive tackle? I don't think Paris Johnson or any other offensive lineman will go in the top 7 picks. Maybe Vegas 7 would take one, maybe, but I don't think they will. Atlanta could be a possibility, who he mentioned, but really the offensive line thing gets interesting with Chicago at 9, maybe Philadelphia at 10, Tennessee at 11 I think is a strong possibility. So, hey, doesn't want that state income tax. Titans at 11 could happen. I don't think Houston would take him because they have 2 good tackles in Titus Howard and Laramie Tunsil. Jets maybe with Mekhi Becton uncertainty, of course, but I definitely think Chicago at 9 is a team that could take him or a Peter Skoronski or a Broderick Jones. We've talked about this quite a bit. You need another offensive tackle to pair with Braxton Jones. I think if the Bears take a tackle in the top 10, they would kick Jones over to right tackle and then play Paris Johnson or whoever may be at left tackle, but could be wrong. Maybe the person they draft will play right tackle. We'd have to wait and see. I like Paris Johnson. I think he would be a really nice player here, coming down from Ohio State to Chicago, close enough. Graded out well for Pro Football Focus. Certainly still has some growing to do, but I like that he's played some guard in college as well, has that versatility, played pretty well last year for the Buckeyes. Overlap with Justin Fields for, I think, 1 year there, so you've got that connection as well. I think he's definitely an option for the Bears with the number 9 pick. Who should the Bears draft with the number 9 pick in the NFL draft? You're the GM. Throw the GM hat on and make the selection. Who should Chicago draft at number 9 overall? If you want Paris Johnson, if you want Jackson Smith and Jigba, Bijan Robinson, Peter Skoronski, whoever, let me know who that player is and who you would like to see the Bears draft. How about Cam Newton? Could the Chicago Bears sign Cam Newton in NFL free agency? Well, Cam Newton hopped on a podcast and mentioned Justin Fields as a quarterback he'd be okay being a backup quarterback to. He did make it clear that even though he thinks there's not 32 quarterbacks better than him, why 32? Because obviously there's 32 starters, that he is willing to be a backup quarterback. And then he kind of ripped off a list of guys he'd be okay being a backup to, and it's kind of a funky list. Deshaun Watson with Cleveland, he said regardless of where Lamar is, he'd be okay being a backup there. He mentioned Justin Fields. We'll get back to that in a second. He mentioned Tua. Malik Willis, and it's like, okay, Malik Willis isn't even the Titans starter. It's Ryan Tannehill, but that's neither here nor there. And quite frankly, Malik Willis is so bad, Cam Newton might be better. I mean, he's that bad. C.J. Stroud was one of the rookies he mentioned, along with Bryce Young and Anthony Richardson. He mentioned Jalen Hurts. Well, they already signed Marcus Mariota, so that's not going to happen. Aaron Rodgers, we don't know where he's going to end up. Josh Allen. He mentioned Sam Howell. I think the reason he mentioned him is because his longtime head coach, Ron Rivera, is the Commanders' head coach, and hell, he probably thinks he could start over Sam Howell, which is why he mentioned him. Now, obviously, when it comes to Chicago, who he mentioned Justin Fields, you're saying, okay, could it make sense? I don't really think so. You already signed P.J. Walker. Obviously, Cam Newton's more accomplished and has had a better career than P.J. Walker. He's obviously a better quarterback than Nathan Peterman, but Nathan Peterman isn't on this roster to play. He's a guy that teams like having in the locker room. Is just a headset guy like, hey, I can, I see this, I see that. Cam Newton, I don't think he wants to play, right? Like, the Bears aren't signing Cam Newton. Like, if P.J. Walker wasn't on board yet, I could almost see it, but I just don't think so. Like, he wants to play. Like, the Bears don't want to bring in somebody that wants to play at quarterback ahead of Justin Fields, and I think deep down, Cam Newton probably thinks he could and should be starting over a player like Justin Fields. So they're not going to go down that route. He has not been a good player in years. I think he should be on a roster. I definitely think he's a top 64 quarterback, but I just think for the Bears at this point, they've just got bigger fish to fry than to worry about bringing in a guy like Cam Newton. What do you guys think? Would you sign Cam Newton? Type S for sign or P for pass. Let me know in the comments section down below. I'm passing on Cam Newton, but let me know what you guys think. All right, guys, that's it for today's episode of Chicago Bears Now, youtube.com/Bears Now. Subscribe, join the rocket ship as we get closer and closer to 65,000 subscribers. We'll see you guys soon here on the channel.